A journey through Arizona's most haunted places. Welcome, seekers of the eerie and wanderers of the supernatural, to a chilling exploration of Arizona's most haunted places. Beneath the sun-scorched deserts, towering mesas, and sprawling canyons lies a darker side to the Grand Canyon State, one where ghostly apparitions, spectral voices, and unexplained phenomena linger in the shadows of history. If you've ever felt an inexplicable chill while walking through an old mining town or heard whispers carried by the desert wind as you explored a crumbling adobe ruin, then you're not alone. Arizona is a land steeped in mystery, its rugged landscapes and storied past serving as a canvas for some of the most haunting tales in the American West. In this video, we'll delve deep into the stories of Arizona's most infamous haunted locations, places where the past refuses to fade into obscurity. From the spectral echoes of Wild West saloons to the mournful cries of Native American spirits, each site holds its own unique tale of horror and intrigue. Whether it's the restless souls of miners who perished in pursuit of gold, the vengeful energy of those wronged in life, or the lingering presence of ancient civilizations, these haunted locales pulse with an otherworldly energy that defies explanation. So, grab your flashlight, dim the lights, and prepare to uncover the sinister secrets hidden within Arizona's haunted places. Together, we'll traverse the fine line between the living and the dead, where every creaking floorboard and flickering light may hold a story waiting to be unearthed, and where the silence itself seems to whisper warnings to those who dare to listen. Let the journey begin. The ghosts of Jerome. Nestled high in the Black Hills of Arizona, Jerome stands as a haunting relic of the state's mining boom era. A once thriving copper town now reduced to a ghostly shell of its former self. Known colloquially as the wickedest town in the West, Jerome earned its reputation through decades of lawlessness, debauchery, and tragedy. Today, this quirky tourist destination is also regarded as one of Arizona's most haunted places, its narrow streets and crumbling buildings teeming with tales of ghostly apparitions, phantom footsteps, and unexplained phenomena that send chills down the spines of visitors and locals alike. One of the most enduring legends tied to Jerome revolves around the Lady in Red, a spectral figure said to haunt the halls of the Jerome Grand Hotel. According to local lore, she was a prostitute who met a tragic end in the early 1900s when she fell, or was pushed, from the hotel's upper floors. Her spirit is said to wander the building at night, often appearing as a translucent woman clad in a flowing red dress. Witnesses describe her as drifting silently through the corridors, her face obscured by a veil of sorrow, as if searching for something, or someone, that will never come. Some claim to have seen her standing at the edge of the balcony, gazing out over the town as if contemplating another leap. Others report hearing faint sobbing emanating from empty rooms, a mournful melody that seems to rise and fall with the rhythm of the wind. Despite countless attempts to photograph her, the Lady in Red always eludes capture, dissolving into the darkness as though she were never there. Adding to the town's haunted mystique is the recurring appearance of shadowy figures along the streets. Residents and tourists alike recount seeing dark, humanoid shapes darting across alleys or standing motionless near abandoned buildings, their forms shifting unnaturally as if defying the laws of physics. Witnesses describe feeling an overwhelming sense of dread in their presence, as though the figures radiate a palpable aura of malevolence. In some cases, individuals have reported being physically touched or pushed by unseen hands, leaving bruises or scratches that appear inexplicably hours later. Local historians attribute these manifestations to the numerous fatalities that occurred in Jerome over the decades, including miners who succumbed to cave-ins, workers who fell victim to accidents, and townsfolk who perished in fires that ravaged the community. It is believed that the spirits of these victims remain bound to the land, their anger manifesting in violent and unpredictable ways. Perhaps the most unsettling aspect of Jerome is the persistent legend of the Phantom Hearse, a ghostly procession said to appear on foggy nights. Eyewitnesses describe seeing a horse-drawn hearse gliding silently along the narrow streets, its driver shrouded in darkness, and its wheels making no sound against the cobblestones. Those who encounter it are overcome with an overwhelming sense of dread, as though the very air around them has grown heavier. Some believe the hearse is a harbinger of death, appearing to those whose time is nearing its end, while others think it carries the souls of the forgotten, destined to wander the town forever. Equally chilling are the accounts of disembodied voices and ghostly laughter echoing through the stillness of the night. Visitors to Jerome have claimed to hear faint whispers carried by the wind, their words indecipherable yet undeniably human. Others describe bursts of mirthless laughter emanating from empty corners of the town, sending shivers down their spines. These auditory phenomena are often accompanied by the sensation of being followed, as though unseen eyes are tracking every movement. Some believe these sounds belong to the spirits of children buried in unmarked graves, their playful energy lingering despite the passage of time. Others argue that the laughter is a cruel trick played by more sinister entities, designed to lure unsuspecting trespassers deeper into the town's shadowy embrace. Jerome stands as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the indelible mark left by tragedy. Its ghostly inhabitants, whether mournful, malevolent, or simply misunderstood, refuse to fade into obscurity, ensuring that the town remains a magnet for those seeking communion with the supernatural. For those brave enough to venture onto its winding paths after dark, the experience is as unforgettable as it is unsettling, a journey into a realm where the past refuses to let go. As the stars twinkle above and the wind whispers through the hills, the spirits of Jerome continue to tell their stories, inviting those brave enough to listen to step closer and tread carefully. The haunting of Yuma Territorial Prison. Perched on a hill overlooking the Colorado River, the Yuma Territorial Prison stands as a grim testament to Arizona's frontier justice system. Established in 1876, this imposing stone fortress housed some of the most notorious criminals of the Old West during its 33 years of operation. By day, the prison's weathered walls and rusted iron bars evoke a sense of historical significance, but as night falls and the desert cools to an icy chill, the facility transforms into a place of spectral unrest. Known as one of Arizona's most haunted locations, the Yuma Territorial Prison is steeped in tales of ghostly apparitions, phantom footsteps, and unexplained phenomena that blur the line between reality and nightmare. One of the most enduring legends tied to the prison involves the Wailing Woman, a spectral figure said to haunt the women's cell block. According to local lore, she was an inmate who took her own life after being wrongfully convicted of a crime she did not commit. Her spirit is said to wander the prison at night, often appearing as a gaunt, pale woman dressed in tattered prison garb. Witnesses describe her as pacing frantically along the corridor, her hollow eyes fixed on the floor as if reliving her final moments. Some claim to have heard her mournful cries echoing through the empty halls, blending with the howling wind that sweeps through the compound. Attempts to approach her result in her sudden disappearance, leaving behind only the sound of her wails fading into the distance. Paranormal investigators speculate that the Wailing Woman's restless spirit remains bound to the prison, forever seeking justice or redemption for the wrongs inflicted upon her. Adding to the prison's haunted reputation is the recurring phenomenon of phantom footsteps. Guards and visitors alike recount hearing the distinct sound of boots clomping against the stone floors, their rhythm steady and deliberate. Yet, when they investigate the source, no one is there. In some cases, the footsteps seem to follow individuals, growing louder and more urgent as if attempting to communicate. Skeptics have attempted to explain these sightings as echoes or structural anomalies, but eyewitness accounts paint a more sinister picture. Many believe the footsteps belong to the spirits of prisoners who perished within the prison's walls, victims of violence, disease, or despair. With its cramped cells, harsh conditions, and lack of proper medical care, the prison claimed countless lives over the decades, earning it a grim nickname among inmates. Hell on the Hill. It is said that the spirits of these victims remain bound to the facility, forever reliving the moments leading up to their untimely deaths. Perhaps the most spine-chilling aspect of the Yuma Territorial Prison is the pervasive feeling of being watched. Visitors frequently report an overwhelming sense of unease, as though unseen eyes are tracking their every move. This sensation is often accompanied by the distinct impression of cold breath brushing against the back of their necks, though no one is there. One particularly harrowing account comes from a tour guide who led a group through the prison late one evening. As they stood in the darkened infirmary, she began hearing what sounded like labored breathing and faint moans emanating from the shadows. Turning to investigate, she saw nothing but empty beds and rusted medical equipment. Yet the sound persisted, growing louder and more desperate until it seemed to surround the group. Terrified, they fled the room, only to discover later that their flashlights had inexplicably drained of power, leaving them stranded in the pitch-black darkness. Equally unnerving are the reports of ghostly apparitions spotted in the guard tower and solitary confinement cells. Witnesses have recounted seeing shadowy figures standing motionless near the barred windows, their forms illuminated only by the moonlight. Some claim to have seen these figures materialize suddenly in their peripheral vision, their hollow eyes fixed on the observer as if pleading for help or vengeance. Paranormal investigators believe these apparitions may represent individuals who died under mysterious circumstances within the prison, their spirits unable, or unwilling, to move on. The Yuma Territorial Prison stands as a stark reminder of the consequences of unchecked authority and the indelible mark left by suffering. Its ghostly inhabitants, whether mournful, malevolent, or simply misunderstood, refuse to fade into obscurity, ensuring that the facility remains a magnet for those seeking communion with the supernatural. For those brave enough to venture into its shadowy depths after dark, the experience is as unforgettable as it is unsettling, a journey into a realm where the past refuses to let go. As the stars twinkle above and the wind whispers through the desert, the spirits of the Yuma Territorial Prison continue to tell their stories, inviting those brave enough to listen to step closer and tread carefully. The haunting of the Vulture mine. Hidden deep within the rugged terrain of the Bradshaw Mountains, the Vulture mine stands as a haunting relic of Arizona's gold rush era. Once the richest gold mine in the state, this sprawling complex churned out millions of dollars worth of precious metal during its heyday in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. But beneath its glittering legacy lies a darker history, a tale of greed, danger, and untimely death that has left the Vulture mine steeped in supernatural lore. Today, it is regarded as one of Arizona's most haunted places, its decaying structures and labyrinthine tunnels teeming with ghostly apparitions, phantom sounds, and unexplained phenomena that defy rational explanation. One of the most enduring legends tied to the Vulture mine revolves around the headless miner, a spectral figure said to haunt the lower levels of the mine shafts. According to local lore, he was a worker who met a gruesome end when a dynamite blast went awry, severing his head and leaving his body entombed within the rock. His spirit is said to wander the tunnels at night, often appearing as a gaunt, disheveled man carrying his severed head under one arm. Witnesses describe him as stumbling silently through the darkness, his hollow eyes fixed on the horizon as if searching for salvation, or perhaps revenge. Some claim to have seen him signaling desperately for help, only to vanish without a trace when approached. Others report hearing faint whispers carried by the stale air, their words indecipherable yet undeniably human. Paranormal investigators speculate that the headless miner's restless spirit remains bound to the mine, forever seeking escape from the labyrinth that claimed his life. Adding to the mine's haunted reputation is the recurring phenomenon of phantom lanterns. Explorers recount seeing faint, flickering glows emanating from deep within the tunnels, despite the absence of any functional lighting. Some claim the lights resemble the oil lamps used by miners in the past, their beams casting eerie shadows on the damp walls. Others describe the glow as a soft, pulsating radiance that seems to beckon travelers deeper into the mine. Those who have ventured inside report hearing muffled voices and the faint clinking of pickaxes, as though trapped in a time loop replaying the chaos of past operations. Paranormal researchers speculate that these lights are manifestations of the spirits of miners who perished in cave-ins, explosions, or suffocation incidents. With its unstable shafts, toxic gases, and lack of safety measures, the Vulture mine claimed countless lives over the decades, earning it a grim nickname among workers. The Devil's Denver. It is said that the spirits of these victims remain bound to the tunnels, forever reliving the moments leading up to their untimely deaths. Perhaps the most unsettling aspect of the Vulture mine is the persistent legend of the crying child, a spectral figure said to haunt the ruins of the miners' quarters. According to folklore, the child was the son of a worker who wandered into the mine one day and was never seen again. His cries are said to echo through the canyon, blending with the howling wind and the rustling of dry brush. Some claim to have seen his ghostly figure wandering along the shoulder, his translucent form illuminated only by the moonlight. Attempts to approach him result in his sudden disappearance, leaving behind only the sound of his sobs fading into the distance. Paranormal investigators believe the crying child represents the collective grief of all those who perished at the Vulture mine, his presence a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of human error. Equally chilling are the accounts of ghostly apparitions spotted near the mine's entrance. Visitors have recounted seeing shadowy figures standing motionless near the rusted gates, their forms shifting unnaturally as if defying the laws of physics. Some claim to have seen these figures materialize suddenly in their peripheral vision, their hollow eyes fixed on the observer as if pleading for help or vengeance. Paranormal investigators believe these apparitions may represent individuals who died under mysterious circumstances at the mine, their spirits unable, or unwilling, to move on. The Vulture mine stands as a stark reminder of the dangers of pursuing wealth at any cost and the indelible mark left by tragedy. Its ghostly inhabitants, whether mournful, malevolent, or simply misunderstood, refuse to fade into obscurity, ensuring that the mine remains a magnet for those seeking communion with the supernatural. For those brave enough to venture into its shadowy depths after dark, the experience is as unforgettable as it is unsettling, a journey into a realm where the past refuses to let go. As the stars twinkle above and the wind whispers through the mountains, the spirits of the Vulture mine continue to tell their stories, inviting those brave enough to listen to step closer and tread carefully. Reflecting on the shadows of haunted Arizona as we draw this journey to a close, it becomes clear that Arizona's haunted places are more than mere relics of the past. They are thresholds to another realm, where the boundaries between life and death blur like the mist that clings to the mesas. After sunset. Each story we've explored, from the spectral echoes of Jerome to the mournful cries of the Vulture mine, reveals a shared truth. These sites bear witness to the fragility of human existence and the enduring power of memory. The crumbling walls, rusted iron bars, and desolate landscapes serve as both markers of the past and conduits for the supernatural, preserving the echoes of lives lost and ensuring that their stories ripple through eternity. What makes these haunted places so compelling is not just the tales of tragedy and loss, but the way they invite us to confront our own mortality. The ghostly figures wandering through abandoned corridors, the disembodied voices carried by the wind, and the inexplicable phenomena that defy logic all serve as reminders that the past is never truly gone. It lingers, waiting for moments of quiet reflection to reveal itself. These haunted grounds challenge us to look beyond the surface beauty of Arizona's rugged landscapes, urging us to acknowledge the shadows that dwell beneath. But perhaps the most profound takeaway is the universality of these stories. Across cultures, eras, and regions, humanity has always sought to honor its dead, creating spaces of reverence and remembrance. Yet, with every grave that is dug and every tombstone erected, there is a reminder of the cost of that connection. The spirits of those who perished, whether miners buried in haste, grieving widows consumed by sorrow, or Native American ancestors whose lands were taken, linger not out of malice, but out of longing. They seek recognition, closure, or simply a voice to tell their stories. In listening to these whispers, we honor their memories and affirm our shared humanity. As you leave this video behind and perhaps venture to one of Arizona's haunted places yourself, take a moment to pause and listen. Let the cool breeze brush against your skin and the rustling leaves fill your ears. Somewhere in that symphony of nature, you might catch a fleeting glimpse, or a whispered word, of the past reaching out to touch the present. And remember, the land holds secrets far deeper than its soil. Thank you for joining me on this chilling exploration of Arizona's most haunted places. If you enjoyed this journey into the supernatural, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own ghostly encounters in the comments below. Until next time, keep your lantern close and your curiosity sharper, because the shadows are always watching.